fancy tram wash. Bring the tram through, follow the signals, wash the front, sides and back. We wash our trams every 10 days. We do a deep clean, external clean, and every night we de-litter, mop our trams out, and remove graffiti every night. Yeah. Tram comes in, we have contractors at night, the tram pulls up, stops, they put the bowsers into the tram, fill the tram, we have a large sand hopper on the other side of the building which pumps the sand through. It takes about 20 minutes to fill an E-class tram with sand, and we sand them every sort of 5 days. We sand them. Obviously during summer we don't need to sand them as much because they're using less sand and so forth. Put the bowsers in, sand the trams, and then we move them down and keep sanding them. The sand is of a special grade of sand. It's just not the normal sand which we get from Adelaide. So it's a certain grade of sand that we get from Adelaide. Very lucky out here. Yep.
And this was all part of the group.
I'll have to go.
Normally we go through there, but we've got that road blocked off. And so there's a lot of roads blocked off that we use for tram charting. Pantographs and some stillages for various rotables. One of the core components of what we do here is all the sub-componentry that is repaired and repairable. And when we do all of our projects, one of the strictest beat rate controls that we have in doing anything is the number of spare parts that we have that we can send out to the depot.
So where are you going to sell it still?
Yeah, we're inside there.
We have 75 E-class based here, so at night they all got to fit in there.
Tyres and some components here that have been tagged in and out, ready for use. We've also got a decommissioned pantograph that we're keeping. When we were in full blood, this was jam-packed with componentry. And this is stored out. See, there's a lot of bogies in the store. These are either getting ready to go onto a tram or have just come off a tram and getting these components. So that's why you see the frames there sitting in the front. You may have seen some bogie frames over the other side. So we're, as I said, at the end of that program, so we don't need as many spare parts to go through the churn. I consider the bogies the ghost fleet. Is the rate at which they get swapped out. C's and D's are so constructed that it's going to be a bit more laborious, but it's to swap the bogie, but it's again much easier to swap the tyres. But tyres wear down. There's normal braking force, or when we recut them using the wheel lathe, which we're not going to go look at because it's beyond that far wall. One of the concerns we had at the beginning of COVID our supplier in South Africa, had a number of calamities. They had a new COVID rush, then a substation was caught on fire, and then another COVID rush, and they couldn't get parts, and we couldn't get shipping. So we had quite a lot of this was an area of great stress at the time, and the guys did a great job keeping trams on the road. So when that shit went, I was running around going, no! What more? Yeah. Standard wheel press. So we're stripping the building. And as you can imagine, now we've stopped doing all those major overhauls, it's a lot quieter here. So rebuild. And here you see new, into what were nicely freshly painted. And then over there we have the lifting.
The art trams.
The art trams.
Yeah, so that's a collaboration with Rising, an arts organisation, and also the Department in Creative Vic. And this year's trams were curated by Rising with, it's a hazard of having such a, as Julian said, widely shared network.
We've got 7 jacks here, so each day they'll work on this one, finish that one, then they'll work on the next. All the fleet, the A's, B's and Z's are done on the other jacks. So the jacks over the far side there, they were about, late 80s I think they were put in. These ones here were put in the,
2016, 15, 16.
so these are relatively new, these two.
And a welding bay where we occasionally need specialist jigs or sections to go in flooring or whatever it happens to be. So we make a lot of the trams in-house. All those bits that we don't know if we're going to need, but if a bat flies into the wrong part of it, we're going to need one. And so probably won't move for 20 years, but then we're going to definitely need it. What gets what we tend to get is a lot of these front and nose injuries. We don't get a lot of the side-on damage, luckily, because that's very expensive to do to fix. So we spend a lot of time repairing the nose and the near far-side sort of panel. And what they did was they took an A-class nose and put it on a B-class tram. And nobody really noticed because it's not hugely different until we had damage on it and we realised that in repairing it that it's the wrong nose and everything's kind of wired up funky. So as a project separate to everything else, DOT has asked us to repair this one and 2020, which funnily enough had the same problem. We're all back together, so this one will be out of service for quite a while. It's, we can turn a lot of trams around relatively quickly, but sometimes it just does that one little bit of extra damage and it means... Exactly right.
They didn't want that A-class one.
No, because there was also some more structural defects, because they're not exactly the same, it had to kind of jerry rig the stick together.
Yeah, right.
So it wasn't unsafe. That's recently gone through an overhaul and is having the doors replaced. We've taped it up so it doesn't get the environmental damage while it's being moved around. Opposite the tram, there's a conducting channel. It's very similar to the 2020 and 2021 where we find a problem that we couldn't have known about at the beginning and we were remediating it. A C-class and a D-class, or D1 I should say. These are very nearly ready to go out.
So we at the start of the MR4 franchise, the business made a decision to outsource the management of the supply chain due to the number of the amount of heavy overhaul that was occurring. And then At the start of 2020, towards the end of 2019, the decision was made to bring that back inside within Yarra. A lot of time trying to modernise the supply chain. One of the biggest challenges that we had when we came in, as you can imagine, I'm sure you've been to other rolling stock depots, is trying to take something that was feeling like it was stuck in the 70s and the 80s into something that's a lot more modern. Only just now. So you find that most of the parts that we receive, they're not barcoded. They don't have any identifying labels on them, and so it makes a challenge of understanding what it is that you're receiving, you're bringing in, you're picking, and you're sending out. Basically, the seat. Typically, what will happen is the goods will get allocated to be sent out to the depots in each of these cages, so they're all segregated by size. They get damaged a lot. They get replaced a lot. Pantographs as well. We've got. Did you see the wheel manufacturing cell? Yeah. So we stock, that's all the parts that are required, we stock all of that here. So Italian sourced tyres, a lot more economical to have them come back, be repaired. And so what you see here is these are all parts that have come back, they're red tags, they're non-serviceable. Taking effectively the same amount of space again in a secondary warehouse and which we use for all of our overflow stock. Imagine the number of the different fleets that we have, the age of the fleet. No two parts of any two fleets are the same. So, it could be that we may never need it. Yeah. But it could be that something happens and you do need it. And so they've all been in some form of collision. So they've come back through for assessment, and then they'll all the process of being sent out to the fiberglass bumper, and then there's these things, and this was a standard rack here. This has been upgraded to take all the heavy rotables. The way that it's configured is you have one of these cream-coloured traction motors in the middle, and then gearboxes on either end. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and so they're the two axles for the tyre, the tyres and the wheels and the
That's
bogies.
one man who's got two axles.
Motor alternators. Yeah, local motor alternators on the other side, and as you go through, which I'll show you in a minute, that's out, so it's much more comfortable. Depends. It really depends on how many collisions we have. So front windscreen collisions, so use of front windscreen glass is pretty high. Doors, lots of parts that that we hold. We may never use these again. But to find them, these are parts that are so old, they don't have drawings. There's no specifications for them. So to try to replicate these in the current world of engineering specs and drawings is really challenging. Which is the amalgamation of they're all cast brass parts that were cast here back when they used to have a foundry. So they'd smelt the metal, they'd die cast the parts, they'd polish them all up. You can't buy them anymore. There's no the molds to make those die cast parts were lost at some point, and so being able to continually support the networking, being able to hold those bits again, might never use them, but if you did need to manufacture them again, I'm not sure it'd be a long and drawn out process. Yeah. If you're interested in, you mainly segregate between large parts over here. This is medium-sized components. Small parts with the racks at the back here. Really just depending on size. Lots of really interesting
Coal or something in there.
Oh yeah, everything. Switches, even boring stuff. All the sandpaper, all those kinds of things. So that into next year, what we'll be doing is we've invested in a lot more dedicated equipment and a dedicated area to be able to do that kitting process and expand that out into a lot of different areas.
fully immersive, isn't it? So
Yep,
screens
it's
and
got a full sort
sound.
of, a full picture, full views, and the drivers actually be able to see everything.
The next stop is Flinders Street.
It's changed a bit.
This is basically an overview of the Flinders Street station. And
Oh, look at that.
Instant
And
thunderstorm.
then,
So
what's going on?
Why are the passengers walking on the track?
Ridiculous behaviour.
I don't know why they're on the track. Let's ignore that.
He's coming at you.
Look at all
Coming for you,
missing too.
And do AI trams come in the opposite direction, do that sometimes?
We can script stuff, so we can add things to it if we need to.
Passed a
There's
few
not
in,
so much
in Swanson Street back
of
then.
Yeah.
But yeah, if we ideally we'll put a tram in front, if we want to simulate keeping the distance goes well.
Yeah. I'll get to the next stop and then I'll let you hop in here. Speed in this low adhesion conditions.
Right.
Yeah.
The next stop is King Street.
If I'm, stop, but no one has gone to get on.